自己出的，这听起来比较专业一点。然后啊，这个 IUGD 毕业设计是从4个地区，一个是日本，然后台湾、香港、新加坡4个地区，总共有34个作品。然后台湾学生有22件，这个是6×2。什么叫6×2？6×2就是台湾建筑上面，就是他们就是每年就是会说什么会那个，就是6个老师选2个毕业设计，然后就是学生投稿投那个毕业设计，然后老师各个选2个，其实会大概选到4个左右，大概是22件。然后日本学生有6件作品，这个是日本一决定展出来的，这个待会我会解释。然后呢，香港的学生3个，然后新加坡3个，总共34件。
So there are about 34 projects in this exhibition. And in terms of Taiwanese students, 6 teachers select 2 students. 那怎么会有20？
他说什么22个？
所以会有20个。
对，是其实会选到4个啦，4个。
是每个学校这样？
不是，那个6个老师就是台湾建筑里面，就是他们会选6个老师出来，然后教那个6个老师就是选他们自己喜欢的作品。
哦。
OK。
Next。
然后地点在宜兰罗东，我觉得这个是蛮重要的，就是离开台北在宜兰做这件事情为什么重要？我这里待会解释。好，下一个。Phrase 建筑也很重要，为什么？要一个国际品牌的时候，你需要的也是要有感觉，要有一个有品质的建筑，然后又有一个而且要做一个活动，所以要一个大型的那个建筑的时候，其实台北找不到，又贵，对，所以王日雄老师他就找的是黄生源的活动文化工程。那这有一段故事，好，没关系，待会再讲。
Saying that it's important for this exhibition, international exhibition, to happen outside of Taipei. One of the reasons is that it needs a place that is suitable for this international event, and it's also big enough. And in Taipei, there's no such space. It would be just too expensive. So that's one of the reasons.
然后最主要是展览大概2个月的时间，下一个。
So the exhibition is about 2 months.
然后里面有大补图。
This is a grand review.
还有1对1的 PK。
And PK.
还有时尚纯演的 lecture。
Also lectures by
Jun Yashigami。所以在这个2个月内有这个3个活动，然后这个3个活动。
So during this exhibition, there will be 3 events.
在这个1个礼拜，就是暑假1个礼拜会就是举办。
These events will take place for 1 week.
所以为什么在宜兰罗东是重要？就是那个一个礼拜内，所有的参展学生会住在罗东，然后工作人员也会住在罗东。所以离开台北，在那个地点聚集，然后做这个活动的时候，产生一个共同的那个感觉。我们最主要是要让他有一个那个 feeling 产生之后再做这件事情。
So it's important that everyone come to this place and live here for 1 week, so they will share the same experience in this very interesting area of Taiwan.
所以在台北那个感觉是不会产生，不会办不出来的。还有一张。
怎么说那个？说在台北会办不出来。
对，就是离开台北，然后在那个宜兰这个地区，然后在就是工作人员还有其他参展学生，在那边共同一起生活，就是住在同一个地方，所以就是有那种交流的机会。
So they need to live in the same place and then share that 1 week, so that experience is shared.
好，我先介绍那个日本的那个毕业设计日本一决定展。
And she's going to talk about how the Japanese students are selected.
好，先播影片。
Watch the video first.
会整理出来，就是变成 DVD，然后就是卖出去。就这个也是一个资料库的一个现象，就是 archive。然后这里是仙台媒体中心。
そして栄えある日本一に輝いたのは
結果日本一になりましたけど、最初先生に100点も10点も本当にボーダーでギリギリで入れたんだよ、君は絶対上がってこないと思ったのではい上がってきてびっくりしたよって言われて、私もびっくりしました。もし今どこに行って悩んでいる人たちもやってたらいつか成果が出るって信じてやった方がいいと思います。
所以他们的那个日本一的 concept 概念就是公平性，是一个要给学生一个平台，而且不是一个学生的那个学校的代表，是学生自己投稿，然后就是怎么讲，就是一个比较不用属于学校什么代表，而是自己个人的人去做这件事情。然后第二个是公开性，就是像刚刚一样，他们就会整理出来，它变成一个资料库，这是给欧普专的，大家知道。那第三个，这个我觉得蛮重要的，就是这个每年都会在仙台媒体中心做这件事情。那这已经是一个毕业设计里面的一个象征。然后他们每年都会请比较一流的建筑师来评估。所以我刚刚讲的为什么是代表性建筑？因为代表性建筑有的话，就是我们看到仙台媒体都会想到毕业设计日本，所以就像罗东文化工厂，我们可能之后会想到的是 IUGD 那种。对。那为什么会选到 IUGD？ 因为那个仙台媒体中心有一个叫清水友先生，清水先生就是说， 那个你们要做国际的啊，我觉得场地真的非常重要。然后王俊雄老师就说，那我带你去看那个宜兰的那个建筑啊，然后他带他去看，就说哦可以在这边办，是不是在这边办？好，下一个。
So the concept of the event is it has to be a fair, platform, equal platform for everyone, and open. It should be open, so everything should be recorded, and there should be an archive where you can access these informations, and also the symbolic meanings of this event. So it's very important to select a place, an architecture that can represent this whole event. So every time you see that the place, you can say that, oh, this is where the IAGD is going to be held. So that this will eventually establish a brand by itself. And they always invite the top architects in the nation or worldwide, world-renowned architects to come and participate in the review.
然后这个就是先台你们移动风球设计的2004。
And this is a Sendai media center designed by Toyota.
就是媒体中心里面有什么？就是有图书馆啊，或是一些那个叫什么影片的那些叫什么？
Library
对，媒体就在这里面。下一张。然后那个不要讲那个建筑结构了，小心。
It's inside the Sendai Media Center.
然后因为就是我觉得比较专业的部分是有大型的电梯这件事情。
And this elevator is very big, so it's very convenient to escort big models and everything. So that's very thoughtful to have these big elevators.
然后从上面可以看得到那个所以是那个 helicopter 那个。
The helicopter.
觉得连顶楼的细节都很漂亮。
All the details are very precise.
然后这是今年的主题，所有事情是在一起。
So this is in terms of Japanese, the theme is mixing everything together.
然后第一个从600多亿的作品里面要选出100个作品。就第一件事情就是出去里面那种。
日本。So Japanese students they had to select 100 projects from these 600 projects.
就是他们就是评审的样子就是这样，所以很多大型的模型在那里，然后大家有一个那个版面在那里，然后评审就是喜欢的话，或是觉得不错的就贴那个名字。
So this is how they review. If the critics like them, they just put a sticker on the poster and they get votes.
就像这样子。
Ribbons, stickers.
就是他又被选到10名里面。就是可以看到一些名作。那接下来就是100个里面选10个。
And then the second stage is to select 10 from 100.
这个是像刚刚看的影片的那样子，就是大家有一个那个一体感的感觉，然后在那边好像在看一个节目的感觉。我觉得那个主持人叫那个小野田先生，他非常会主持。那个真的是那个 program 很像在看一个节目。
So the whole event it looks like a television show. It's very entertaining at the same time, and they discuss really deep topics about architecture.
然后今年比较特别的是，日本1跟日本2是观众嘛，audience 来决定这件事情。真的好那个。我觉得他们真的不知道在干嘛，然后最后就说啊怎么办？那就大家选好的那种状态。可是这个可能比较符合今年的概念是所有东西混在一起，就大家真的混在一起选1跟2。然后我觉得1跟2名的差别在哪里？第一名的人是他的故事的说法是所有故事讲完，然后人家理解。可是第2名的说法比较是我不会讲所有事情，就是留一些空间给你思考，就是看哪一个比较适合观众的那个喜好。
所以观众选是只有前几名在选。
就是1跟2。
就是我说他们只选出前几名，就是前几名都出来，他们选谁做第一名。
对，是观众选，是评审选，是要选1跟2名的时候是观众选。
So this year's quite special. They have audience judges to select who's number 1, number 2. And because the first one, the number 1 who won, he has a more complete story. But then the second one, he left an ending, so you can use your own imagination. So it depends on what the audience like.
然后选出第1名。其实第1名这件事情非常是20世纪的想法，不是21世纪的。所以他们觉得20世纪的手法来用21世纪会不会很奇怪？可是他们的第1名的第一开始就改变了。那个第1名不是就是要给人家看第1名，是你要当一个 leader， 拉大家的那种第1名的那种感觉。
So she thinks that number 1 is to select the number 1 is quite 20th century thinking. So what we should use for the 21st century is that number 1 should be someone who can lead the other people. It's not just saying that you're the winner and that's it. It should be that you have this responsibility to lead everyone else.
然后再讲我们的大拼图关于这件事情。那这个是去年的样子，在罗东文化广场，就是可以看得出来，它整个那个空间感其实跟日本有一点点不同。我觉得蛮有台湾的特色，就是一个半户外的空间在那边看这件事情。吴冠廷老师拍的，谢谢。
So this is the grand review of in Rodong, and it's very different from the Sendai Media Center. You can see the space is very semi-open, outdoor space. So it has a very Taiwanese touch to it. Very different from that.
然后在这里面，大拼图是从34件作品里面选出10件作品，然后10件作品在那个舞台上面就是 presentation。
So the grand review is everyone from different countries they come here, including the Japanese and Taiwanese. 34 different projects, and select 10 to be presented on the platform.
可是我们不是要选第1名。
But we're not trying to look for number 1.
就是不同文化价值观在同一个舞台上呈现，就是在那个时候的那个比较重要，就是不是要选第1名，就是不同文化在那个上面的时候那个感觉。
What they're trying to achieve is different cultures coming onto the same platform and different values and see how they interact and how they collide with each other. That's what they want to do most.
然后这也蛮重要的是，学生知道自己的位置在哪里。他们上这个舞台之后，他们要意识到自己的角色，不是说只是一个学生的身份。因为他们在舞台上的时候，已经会影响到下面的，就是学生，就是还没做毕业设计的学生，还是已经做完毕业设计的学生。
So for the students, it's to find their own position as an architect and not a student. So because when they're on the platform, they're affecting everyone, including the teachers, the students, and everyone. So they have to think about what position they should be in as an architect. Find its own character.
然后这是第一次面对大众的不公开的那个，所以就是从这边开始会有批判性会从这边出生，就是第一次你的设计会产生一个被批判的那个状态，公开的状态。
It's the first time the work gets published to the public audience, so it's very important to face everyone and get the criticism.
对，所以就是已经是一种创作者了，不是学生的身份。我觉得这个真的是蛮重要的，不是一个学生的延伸在做这件事情，是你是要用一个创作者的角色来面对大众观众。
You're no longer a student, you're a creator.
桥野田教授有讲到建筑神这件事情。
This is a Japanese teacher. He mentioned this term called God of architecture.
然后建筑的神对于微笑只是那个瞬间而已，就是比如说你上台或是拿到第一名那个，他对你的那个笑容只是瞬间的事情。
And he's saying that the God of architecture, his smile only lasts for 1 second. But
那我们要怎么抓住那个建筑神的那个尾巴？
how do you hold on to his glance? Because he may look at you and smile, but then you just turn away. And so you need to know how to hold on to his attention.
所以他意思就是说，运气也重要，可是还是要自己努力的。
So what he meant is that luck is very important, but what's the most important thing is that you have to continue to try more. You can't just stop there. You have to keep going.
然后再谈一下 PK 好了。PK 的话跟大评图不同的是1对1，学生1对1来就是互相评。
So PK is one-on-one student. They criticize each other's work and present their own work.
然后这次好像有33次吧，33场对不对？
And this year there were 33 PK events.
对，然后这个是那个当时的样子。所以就是大评图跟那个 PK， 他们也是不同的一个 program 在那边，应该说节目嘛。对，因为大评图的话是面对大家，然后34个作品里面选出10个面对大家。可是 PK 的话是1对1，可以比较深的讨论在那边。
So the PK are very different from grand review. Because grand review is you have you have a larger audience, and the PK is one-on-one, so it's more like more closed environment. So PK 是随机抽的，
我们会安排那个
是老师安排。
老师安排的。
So the PK are arranged by the teacher. So who goes against who is decided by the teacher.
然后就是一定你要理解对方的想法或是概念，你才能去帮他评论。
So first you have to understand what the other person is doing, so that you can criticize his work.
然后之后的大评图的方向，这个是那个清水先生提出的 4A。
Not the
4。
sorry. So the 4 A's.
第一个是 Asia， 这是亚洲，其实就是蛮重要的，因为我们都是受到西方的文化的影响。这其实亚洲有自己的一套的系统，虽然亚洲里面也很多地区。那我们要怎么从亚洲开始发出给世界？
So the Asian education of architecture is influenced by the West. So what we need to do is start from Asia. How do we gather together and create something by ourselves?
然后第二个是建筑，
In terms of architecture,
然后艺术，
art,
然
and create an archive, an open archive that can be used by everyone.
就是资料这个状态，就是我们要怎么记录下来这个大平台，然后怎么公开。
So everything needs to be recorded and kept in the archive, just like what we're doing today. Small, we have to record everything.
所以我觉得那个4A 要做到其实很困难，可是有做到的话，我觉得在我们的建筑的教育系统里面产生一个另外一个不是受西方的影响的那个系统会出现。
Hopefully, by this means we can establish our own system, Asia as Asia, and not influenced by the West. We can come up with our own creativity.
然后接下来就是时尚纯业这样，因为就刚好当他的翻译部长就有聊天的机会，然后我只发现他很爱喝酒。
So he's a world-renowned architect in Japan, and this year Mikko had a chance to be his translator. So then she had and he likes to drink a lot.
他都没有在车子在喝啤酒。
He doesn't eat his street beer.
然后这个就是他的作品叫《黑我》，很多人大概都知道那个办法。下一
毕业作。
不是毕业作。所以你看他这个其实非常的建筑，可是也是家具，这个就是一种跨领域的那个状态开始出现了。就是刚刚这个 4A 里面的，我觉得可以讲说它是一个 4A 的状态。
So she thinks that Yugan Ishigami's work can represent the 4A's. Because this is what he designed is not really architecture, but it's not also furniture. It's not only just furniture. It's something that's art, architecture, and also Asia. So that is very symbolic of what that 4A means.
其实我在这边比较印象比较深刻的，他讲尺寸跟尺度的差别在哪里的时候，他就是举这个作品就是说，尺度就是那个 scale 嘛。比如说你要100米的时候，那到底你的那个桌子要多厚？那个就是尺寸。所以它的那个尺寸跟尺度的那个差异很敏感。比如说你100米的时候，你的桌子可能是0.3米，不是10米的时候可能是0.3，但是100的时候可能是0.9，就是一点点差别对他来说是非常的重要。然后其实就是他的是真的是用一个建筑的方式去做一个家具。这个你看它这个大概有9米吗？还是8米？忘记。它中间，它这个就是一个 table， 什么都没有成，就是没有那个中间没有什么，它真的就是一个这样的状态。然后这个真的是0.3。一般来讲，不是有力的话，不是会那个会这样子，就是你放东西的话，应该会乱掉。它就是先设计好这样子的状态。然后再去安排上面的一些植栽变成皮的状态。对，所以就是这个过程就是非常的复杂，可是他的作品是看起来很复杂，就是看一个现象一样的状态。就是对我们来讲，我们不会去想说那个氧气到底是怎么来的，这是一个现象。可是他的作品是一个现象。然后他要做的是那个怎么去做一个现象，用一个新的材料去创作一个意识到的时候有紧张感的那个状态。
So what Yugan Ishinami, he's very precise in terms of his design. And he designs furniture from an architectural approach. So everything is very precise. And so this table, if you see it, you may be shocked, surprised at first, but then you come to accept it as a phenomenon because like the air you breathe, you accept it. Because the way it's designed is that if it's a normal table, it would curve like this if you put things on, right? Because the span is too big. But that's why he designed it at first like this, and then he puts the plants on top and then evening it out so it becomes flat. So he creates a phenomenon instead of just architecture or furniture.
然后他讲到的就是老师就是像业主，他说有些老师有好老师也有的老师，那你要怎么去面对他的时候，你要想说老师是个业主，就是你要让他开心，还是让他开心，可是你也要有自己的想法在里面。然后建筑不是都是跟艺术不一样的是，不能就是自己满意就好了，一定有第三者的存在在那里。所以我觉得从这边，我觉得非常可以感受到他的，因为为什么会觉得他觉得业主是很重要？因为从他的作品集里面可以看得出来，他排版什么自己排，所以就是人家给他的工作，他会做到真的很高的 level 送出去，所以那个状态跟业主是非常满意的状态。所以我觉得我们从学生时代要想说，怎么给业主有一个surprise， 所以老师就是一种，老师也是一种业主。
So Shigami also mentioned that teacher is like a client. You have to satisfy the client, satisfy the teacher, but you also need to have some of your own creativity along with So the portfolio that Ishigami makes is very, everything is very precise and very delicate. And when he sends the work to the client, it's very high quality. So the client is very pleased. And so we should start having this way of thinking when we're students, so that we have our real clients.
然后问他学生时代在做什么，他说他学生时代只是每一个功课都做得很好，就是没有特别做什么，就是真的是这个就是要怎么面对业主这件事情。
So she asked Ishigami, what did you do when you were a student? And he said he didn't really do anything much, but just every assignment he does it to the best quality. That's basically what.
对，然后这个就是那个他的那个什么，是 KAIT 开始方法。好，下一个。
So on this word.
就看得出来这个很多柱子，就有很多柱子啊。
Lots of posts in the plan.
对，然后我们看起来就有痕迹的，怎么那个看起来就是很不规则，对不对？你知道，就看起来很不规则，这个柱子就很不规则。可是你知道，人就是要去，人就是没有意识到去随便乱点的时候，其实会变成一条线。听得懂我的意思？就是你就随便乱点上，你自然会产生一条线。所以他就是说，我要怎么意识到那个不规则？不规则是要设计的，不是随便弄就是不规则。因为你随便点的话，其实会变成一个规则。所以他下一个不好意思，下一个。
So the way that posts are drawn on the plan, because usually when you dots, you create a line. Unconsciously you create a line. Because humans, we work in a very, we think about lines a lot. But the way, that he thinks that if you want to make, very natural and very deliberate, dots, you need to have design. You need to design the pattern. So how do I not make a pattern? When I do this, that's also design.
所以他就是开发一个那个软体，就是帮你去想那个柱子的位置，然后同时他做1:30还是1:3，我忘记，反正非常大的模型，去看那个模型 study 的话 ，study 模型的话就是看它的那个空间感，然后这边就是那个软体的话是看它的那个点点的那个位置，就同时就是怎么讲，应该是那个工具的用法，我觉得是非常的有一个和平平衡点，就一个平衡点在那边，就是一个很理性的状态跟靠感性的那个状态的那个平衡点，就是我觉得是抓的很好。
So the tools that he uses computer software and 1 to 30 scale models. And this model is to look at the space, the sense of space, and study how it will feel inside that space. And also the computer software is just it has to do with the thoughts, the problems. And it may look very easy, but there's actually a lot of work that goes behind this project.
就这样，所以就是其实这个是从那个妹岛沙拿那边学他的那个系统，是从沙拿那边过来的。沙拿就是那个妹岛跟新泽嘛，就他们也是做大量的模型，然后自己也是开发一个 software 在那边，然后去看他的那个平衡点。然后他说在妹岛事务所的时候非常的开心，因为妹岛不像老板，就是比较像在一起讨论的那个状态。不会说，你也是该怎么做，真的是每天一起讨论。然后他在妹岛事务所的时候，就是几乎每个案子都有参与到，就是基本设计做完，他会去下一个，所以他在妹岛事务所的时候是非常重要的一个人。那讲学生，就是我还是比较日本的作品好，就是2012跟2013的那个差别到底在哪？就是学生的作品里面。然后2012年的时候，就是刚好2011年3月11号，你们就知道发生什么了。311对，那就知道出来了。下一个。所以 建一条建筑，对不起，他就是说一个那个神的舞台。我不讲他的作品内容，反正就是跟灾后的那个重建有关系。
So the first place has to do with the reconstruction of the Japanese.
对，然后这是日本第2名的，它就是记忆的容器，也是跟那个地震有关系。
It also has to do with the earthquake.
所以那个在2012年的时候，看起来它的那个议题就是跟前几年是完全不同的。就感觉那个大家很认真的去想，我要就那个社会上的那个议题那个部分。可是他们社会上的议题那个部分，其实应该是说概念非常的清楚，然后一刀的那种感觉。所以所有的图的表现法跟它的概念，就是很有平衡点，就是又符合到。
So 2012, the theme is very different. It's not just earthquake. It's very lots of different concepts that has to do with the social situations of the time. And everyone has a very clear, very straightforward way of telling the story.
但是今年的作品的话，感觉就是我们到底要怎么去理解它的那种感觉，不是那个社会上的那个议题，感觉是他跟他作品之间的关系，懂吗？就是开始就是说，我要变成他才能看他的作品，就是感觉用第三者的角度去看他的作品的时候，就会感觉怪怪的。
And this year the theme is even more peculiar. It's like trying to understand the designer's work from the designer's point of view because it's very obscure and you have to think from that person's point of view and look at his own work. So it's very different. I'm sorry.
然后这是他的经典万国博览会，然后这个就是那个刚刚在影片里面那个银岩之家的，他是说我生存的时候，那个也是我的家，到我的死后，我的家会跑到哪里去？我的家到底是什么？然后他就是每天会挖洞，在自己的家里面挖洞，为了他死后的地方，每天挖洞。然后他说，那死亡到底是什么？其实死亡不会意识到的是。所以我偶尔不太懂他在干嘛，反正那就是意思就是说，活的时候也是我的家，可是死后就变成我的坟墓。对，然后在那里面他就去配置一些关于他思考的这些特性。
One example is very peculiar. It's a house that's it's a house that you live in and then you die in as well. So every day you just dig holes and then by the time you're dead you just stay inside this house. Okay? So it becomes your grave. So this is like asking yourself, so what happened to my house? What happened to my home if I die? This question is very like these, very clear.
像他日本第2名的那个学生，他是做万国博览会的经理，然后带了70米的柱子到德国那边。其实他就是用村上春树的小说去做这件事情，所以就是跟记忆或是跟人的意识非常有关系的。这真的是我们只在看他们在做的事，就是远远在看他们在做的事情，我感觉无法加入到他们里面去看那个作品。讲自己也没那个勇气吧。然后我觉得透过这个大比图之后啊，就是怎么讲，就是curator 的角色跟学生的那个刚好是个中间，策展人跟参展人刚好那个中间点，就是来看这个时候，就是会感受到很多不同的事情，对，像就是透过这件事情知道一个展览是怎么去办的。 老师的立场或是学生的立场，就是这里面其实有点复杂，可是从这里面就是可以感受到那个，我也不知道怎么讲，算了。好，谢谢。日本他们那边的就是参展人，他们是怎么看待？就他们来参加这个社会，他们觉得就这个社会，他们有没有感觉？因为其实我觉得日本他们是说蛮喜欢这个活动，因为怎么讲，在日本没有 PK 什么，或是 lecture， 就是我觉得最主要就是他们来台湾，然后1个礼拜住在这里。做这个活动这件事情，跟在日本决定这样子是完全不一样的感情。然后在不同国家里面看到的那个不同价值观下的那个作品的时候，其实他们会觉得，原来也有这种方式去做设计。像台湾的话，比较有装置性的作品，就是像实践的那种1:1的，所以或是只有投影的那个屏幕的那个状态，所以他们会觉得原来毕业设计也有这种方式
So the 6 students that come from Japan to Taiwan to Hudong, you said that they are judged by the audience.
6是6个。
I don't know.
来日本吗？日本
6个人。
Are they judged by the audience? I mean.
No, when you're in Japan, the first place and the second place are decided by the audience, but the others are selected by the teachers. The teacher judges.
Do you mean like the final 6 ones? They are selected by the judges, not by the audience?
By the judges, but first place and second place are decided by the audience. Like who gets first and who gets second. So the 6 are already out, and then the final 6 are out, but then who gets first and who gets second?
By the audience?
Decided by the audience.
But I have a question. If they are judged by the audience, not all of them are architects, so do they know the theme, like what the students are working on? And because I don't know, for me it's kind of unfair. They are not architects, they don't know how architecture operates, and they are not going to judge my work because they don't know what I'm doing, except for the judges that are architects.
那些 audience judges 都是建筑类的。
哪一个？
就是选出
日本的吗？其实那个只是那个怎么去看，就是刚好今年就是。
Actually, like that is a special thing this year because last year it is all decided by judges. But this year, because when they are coming to the first and second place, the judges has different point of view and they cannot make the decision.
Okay.
And that is why they ask the audience to decide because most of the audience are architecture students from Japan. So they say maybe if we cannot decide, maybe we let the audience decide.
It makes sense. I thought that they just pick random people from the streets and make them join and then start judging the people. Like saying, if we're in Tamping, we would ask the school to come and judge our work. That wouldn't make sense. So that's what I thought. So it makes sense now.
对，那些观众就是有建筑背景。
大部分是建筑学生，可是我不知道应该是不确定。
那是一个全国最大的建筑活动，到底说你要挤进去很难，所以到底说要有那个强力就要挤进去，应该都是建筑系。要不然就是
有搞笑艺人会来，
搞笑艺人会。
搞笑艺人会去。然后那个这次先讲一下，10月份是那个就是 IUGD 的那个然后整个34件作品在里面，好看。
系图有吗？
系图有。然后这个就是去年的，然后还有今年的，可以的 话就是，谢谢。
So the IAGD will be featured in this TA magazine, this volume. You can see it. You can find it in the department line. 对，我问你，那你的部分是怎样？
我的部分是怎么样？
不要讲，可以讲一下你的方面。
我的梦想吗？梦想，因为我还没做毕业设计，可是我看到很多学长去做毕业设计的时候，就觉得有没有另外一种方式可以去做毕业设计嘛？就不只是现在我们可以想到的那个毕业设计，应该有更多种的可能性在那里。像我现在还不知道那可能性到底是什么。对。
中文下一个。对，我们让我们下一个。
吓一跳吗？
很超2年后就看你的表现。
啊！不要！不要这样！把手变很高。
So I'll be the last one. And it's going to get on. So my topic is leading rural workshop, housing workshop in this summer, and we spent the whole 10 days inside. It's a countryside, and so there are 3 countries that participated in this event. Students from China and Taiwan and Japan. And we have 1 week to come up with the design. So it's a very short amount of time, and we have to come up with something. So next page. So this is unique, and so the issue is to develop a new, based on the site of the UD, have to develop new thinking methods for the future rural housing. So right now we have lots of problems with our countryside in Taiwan, and so we have to find a way to find a new way to make this area a much more suitable place for people to live and prosper. Yes. So these 2 countries next. And there are a total of about 13 schools. Also, there was this 1 student from America who also participated in that. And we have 5 topics. One is elderly. My group is in charge of elderly and town center, long stay, rehab development. And town center, everyone knows what town center is. You have to develop a center that can hold the town together, and also it needs to provide housings and shopping centers and stuff like that. And long stay is retirees, they go to the countryside, they want to have a vacation and also enjoy their lifestyle. That's called long stay. And rehab is old housings, and then how do you reuse it and make it better? That's rehab. Development is building something that's completely new. For example, on an empty lot or something. So 5 different topics, and so each topic has 2 groups that are in charge. So our first day, I'm going to talk about the orientation next. This is where we spent our 10 days. This is called the farming lab, or something like that. But it's very cool. I mean, it's a reuse of this old space. I think this used to be a government building, and then an architect came in and refurnished it. He made a restaurant downstairs, and then upstairs is a design public next. So the first day, all the students gathered in this area, from all over the country and from different parts of the world. We gathered here, and we have our groups meet our group members for the first time next. And this is where we stay. Our group stayed in a temple called Fujiko, and this temple was featured in the movie recently. And it's very interesting because it's my first time living inside a temple. It's not really 5-star, but it's very interesting because you sleep on the floor and everyone guys share the same room. It's like a long room, and then just sleep on mattresses. And the girls just stay next to the hallway. So very interesting experience. Next. Surveying of the site. Next. So the site in the lab we have bicycles where you can use to travel to our site and then survey. Next. And this is our group. So these 3 students are Japanese, and this is me and this guy and this guy are Taiwanese, and 3 other people are from China. So 3 Japanese, 3 Taiwanese, and 3 Chinese students in our group. So this guy is a teacher, and this guy. This one is a teacher. Next. So we first started off, going to the site. It's a very old village in the area, and we just go around and try to feel the lifestyle and try to absorb everything we can. And this is the teacher, and she's like picking these fruit, we'll call it weed. And then, because this Chinese student has never tried it, or he never had this experience, so for some of them it's very interesting how we interact with next. And also, this girl, she said she couldn't ride bicycle, so she needs a guy to help with her. And eventually she said she had a crush on the guy. So it's very lots of gossip in our group. Very romantic way of surveying the site. Thanks. And also we interacted with the local villagers. This guy, he's a local farmer, and he just led us around the site. And he showed us these temples. These temples are not just used for religious purpose. They also used for to stay in the direction of the village. For example, this one is north temple, and there will be 3 other more. And these 4 temples, they if you connect all the dots, it creates a boundary of the village. So it's very important to navigate around the village next. And we also interviewed the elderlies there in the village next. And we also made it to the newspaper. So it's very interesting. Next. So next is a discussion. And at first we had no idea what to start doing, so the teachers asked us to write down what we observed and then put it all onto the table next. And this teacher, she knows a bit Japanese, so then she speaks to the Japanese students. But the Japanese students say they don't understand what she's saying. So the conversation was very difficult at first. Next. And then we put it all together and discuss what we're thinking. Next. And also, this is brain mapping. To start from elderly and then going out to different topics regarding the elderly, and then try to brainstorm as much as we can for this stage. And also stay inside the dorm to work, because lots of work has to be done within this short time. Okay, next is reviews and lectures. Okay, for this section, just showing you the process of what we're doing, and then I'll show you the projects later after all of this. So this is the review. So it's a very big stage for everyone. On the first review, our team actually did a good job of surveying, collecting information. Next. And also lectures by teachers. So it's lectures, review. And so it's very interesting because the lectures can give you a lot of ideas at the same time. So it feeds you information and you use it in your design. So that this whole process can be as quick as possible. Next. Okay, design. So this is our group. Our group is more interesting because I think everyone is very specialized in their own way. People who work in this group are in charge of design. And next, because most of us speak Chinese, because we have 3 Chinese and 3 Chinese students, but we all speak Chinese. So the way we communicate is much more easier. So when we do designs, we tend to be more dominant, but it's not a good thing. I think in the future we should have equalized people who speak Chinese and people who speak Japanese. So it's more fair. And then the students of younger age or lower grade help with the models and they can come up with their own ideas as well. Next. And this is our site model. Next. And also this girl is very good at sketches. She can draw, like for example, you tell her, this is my plan. And then you explain to her what space there is, and she can draw a very beautiful sketch. So we call her the renderer. Her name is the printer. We call her the printer. So she's in charge of all the printing, the renderings of our designs. Among the sketches she drew, and she can draw very quick. Like 10 minutes to finish one sketch. Anyway, so this is the design section of our group, and this is the model section of our group. So it's all happening at the same time, so that everything is very efficient. And we try to delegate as efficiently as we can. Next. And when we're tired, we just work out and do some exercises. Next. Next. Okay, leisure. Next. After we only work till 8 in the night, so then we had to go home at 8. And we usually just go, drink beer and stuff. And there's no bar in Uni, so we just go to 7-Eleven to buy Taiwan beer. And then we really like Taiwan beer, the Japanese and the Chinese. And also we try to enjoy the lifestyle, the very laid back lifestyle of the countryside. And also food is very important when it comes to interaction. We always take them to eat as many different things as possible. For example, when we like shopping, so we take them to try it. It's very fun. I mean, we work very hard, but the main, I think, when we're eating, that's when we're most relaxed and we can talk very nice. And also in the end, we also want to travel next. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the review. These are some of the works by other groups. Next, this development. And I think this is council. Next. This is council. Okay, this is ours. Next. So I should show you the models first. Next. 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 Okay, then I'll show you our design project. Okay, this is also the end of our journey. It's not very important. It's very Okay, so this is our theme. Our theme is the elderly. Okay, next. And our site is this village here. This is the village. Next. And what we want to do is we want to create a healing village because Lucy is a very old village, and most of the people living there are old people and old farmers, and their children usually just leave town to work in the city next. So what we want to do is we want to focus on healing in the countryside. But healing is not as in if you're sick, you go heal. It's more like how to preserve a happy atmosphere for your soul and body. So in terms of mind, we need to think about the mental advantages of the countryside. You can provide relaxation, natural environment, education, strong social relationship, and strong social activities. And body-wise, it's physical advantage, fresh air, clean water, organic food, exercise, and good sleep. Next. Okay, so we're going to create a cycle, which people can heal. The village heals people with its advantages, and in return, the people heal the village by social and physical aspects. So there are 3 different systems. One is nature, people, and village. Next. So this is people and nature. You can see that lots of different advantages that nature can provide us. Next. And also the varieties of activities that can happen between people. And people in village. How can this transform the village in the next 5 to 10 years? Next. Okay, so we started off our survey by stating out different meeting notes and interest notes of the village. Next. And then stating out the new village center by different walking perimeters. Because old people, they can't walk very well, so they have to travel within 5 minutes to these centers. So we define a new center for the village. And then stating out the existing functions of the buildings. Next. Also the voids between these buildings, how people use them. Next. And this is the study of the different types of voids spaces inside this village. There are gathering spaces, bypass, lingering spaces, etc. Next. And some spaces are more suitable for certain activities. For example, gathering spaces, or you can use it for larger, social events, parties, barbecues, things like that. And pocket spaces, more quiet, and you can use it for more quiet purposes. Next. So defining by the different scales and functions of the different scales, we can also state out the functions of these voids. Next. So inside the village, we find these different types. Next. And then we state out the functions that will be more suitable for that. Next. Eventually, we want to create a garden street for health. It's like a sponge that can absorb people in and to heal everyone who goes into that system. So our concept is that every family, every house has its own plot of garden, and you can grow whatever on the garden street. And when you have a product, everyone on the street can use that product as a source of food. So it's like a supermarket, but it's free because everybody shares it. So it's like a shared economy concept. Next. And also, horticultural therapy. It's very important that the cycle between work, eating, and resting, it goes continuously, and that the work doesn't have to be traditional, which damages the body. It has to be very healthy on your body in terms of the stability of the movements. So this is our horticultural farm. Next. And this is the infrastructure that goes along with the horticultural therapy. And certain things that, for example, irrigation or basic infrastructures are all has to be considered. Next. And also the spaces that needs to be used throughout this process, from work, rest to eating. So when you work, you get exercise, and then you rest, and then you eat what you produce, and then you go back. For example, the feces go back to fertilize the product. So it's a cycle that goes on forever. Next. Okay, so then also in terms of housing program, we define different types of housing. For example, old or new. Next. And then the different connection types. Next. And next. 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 So it's different users. Single or shared kitchen is also very important to connect the community. So we have large kitchen, medium kitchens, private kitchens. So we think that by sharing a kitchen and eating together, the elderly can have a more happier atmosphere. They can work together and eat together. Next. And also medical emergency network. Next. So this system is explaining how if you have a heart attack, and then how the system works. You have a caretaker inside this center that can help you escort to the clinics or the hospitals near the village. So it's a very thorough system. Okay, so in terms of business model, how do we run this system? Is that we need to have activities, farming and gardening, providing an atmosphere that's very a good space. And you can use that space to heal yourself, and then produce organic food, and then you eat to have energy for more exercise. So So it should be a very, it should be a cycle that's created next to you. And in terms of people and people, I do think that when you're a tourist, you can come to this village and you can live here for the holidays, and then when you become retired, you live here for long. So then it's an ongoing cycle. Maybe one day you're a tourist, and then maybe many years later you become retired, and then you get older, you maybe become a local elderly here. So it keeps going on. Next. So this thing explains how local elderly can provide space for the tourists, and then tourists provides labor, so you don't have to pay. You use labor. For example, you work in a farm for the disabled elderly. And this one is retirees provide rents. Because retirees maybe they don't have as much energy as younger people, so they provide rent for the local elderly, and then the elderly provide space for the tourists. So it's a win-win situation. And then so in return, the tourists may provide creativity and vitality to the village, whereas the retirees may have more money to provide more prosperity to the village. And when the village is healed in this sense, it creates infrastructures for elderly. So in this system, we provide these, and in the healing village system is created. So this is our master plan in the end. So what we did was everyone has a site to design. So we only listed out the different boys. So we just designed these different plots. So I designed this one, and the other people designed this. And in the end, we just connected with the Garden Street concept. So it's a very continuous garden street mix. And it consists of this area, which is central. And this is an existing building. We just use the old structures for a new center here. Next. And this is the Garden Street next. And this is a tourist area where the people can come into this area right now, because this is now open space, right? So what we want to do is we don't want to destroy any buildings. We use the existing voids to just maybe make it better. So we don't build anything new, not too much, just little touches. Next. This is a tourist center. So as you can see, these are very old brick houses that you can, by lifting out the object, you can have a glance of all these walls. Very beautiful. And you can also climb up and then see all these very old tiles. It's very interesting. Next is a temple. It's a temple. Next. And we just add on this it's like preserving these old walls. We just preserve them. Next. So this is the existing walls right now. These are the old walls this is very old. I think 100 years at least. And then next. So it becomes like a place for interaction and next. So it becomes like an exhibition space as well as a place where you can come here and look at the history of this village. So you have exhibitions here and here. It becomes a very a new program for this area that's not used next. This is a temple plan next. There's also houses upstairs next. This is a section next. Also a social corridor next. This is a very interesting place. It's all continuous. So we just add these, what we call it, gawas in Japanese. We add them on, and then old people, they can come here and interact. So it's kind of like a river. It's like a dock where you can sit and then socialize, and then next. And the pond is the one I created next. This area is very interesting because right now it's being used for raising livestock. So I just used this existing program and then added the gawa to make a shed that these old people can sit here, relax, and then take care of the livestock at the same time. And also adding the residents downstairs, using the old structures and just adding on to it. This is the plan. I think this is for a single elderly room, and then we also have elderly couple house. This is like a mini kitchen, semi-outdoor mini kitchen. This is also small see, these things are at a certain height because you can use them to sit. Because when old people they get tired, they can sit down and relax. Next. And also the management center next. So this is the existing building structure. These are all existing. And this was supposed to be a temple, but it's not finished. So we just use this structure to make a management center. Inside the center there's an emergency medical care center where you can use for example, blood pressure tests or something like that. Okay, that's another viewpoint of management center. And that's the end of our project. Thank you. Any questions?
我想问问看，就是你觉得中日台我们三个地方的学生有什么比较明显的差异？
对，我刚刚像我们这组的状况来讲的话，日本我觉得跟中国大陆那边的就是两个极端。对，然后我们其实台湾就站在中国，就是日本的话就是非常要求很多细节，就是每次我们讨论完，他都是要求要summarize， 要 summarize 整个流程再讲一遍。然后有时候很累，因为真的一直在讲话，像我就是一整天在一直讲话。然后那个他们就要就是要我们讲清楚他们才愿意，就是要不然有时候他们点头，他们可能礼貌上点头，可能之后回来他们做完就是跟你讲的不一样，因为过程中他们其实他们不太清楚，他们就是点头，了解这样子。那大陆的反而是大家就是完全就是不想要管游戏，也是想要快点进设计，因为我们一开始就是调查很多，就是我们把整个调查做得很完整。可是那个大陆人他们就觉得说，就是耐不住气，就是要赶快进设计这样子。然后其实刚那个 temple 那个是大陆人设计的，那个有 render 的那个是大陆人设计的。他就是他们的设计模式其实就是有一套制式的做法。对，我也想出一种比较有趣的，我不知道这样讲不知道，就他们就是比较自私化，然后我们台湾的其实就是介在中间，我们就是有点像协调。So Chinese students are like a mediator between the Chinese and the Japanese, because the way they think is very different. Japanese is very precise on details, and everything has to be summarized so that they can start the next step. And whereas the Chinese, they just want to get inside designing as fast as possible. 然后我就是刚刚提到，就是讲中文这件事情，就是对日本人来讲，因为他们只有3个人，然后我们6个人讲中文，所以对他们讲有点不太公平，就是过程中就是感觉是我们在讲中文在主导，然后就是比较有点就是没有办法参与，而不是就是说他们可能就是要有点妥协这样子。那我觉得在时间紧迫下，我们其实不会就想要快点把它做完，所以就是要有点妥协，有点分析。
I got one more question. It's about what if we just competing in the same platform? Where is our advantage? Just you say the three class student have each advantage. So where is ours? So how we emphasize our ability?
You mean Taiwanese students?
Yeah.
I think Taiwanese students are not extreme. I think that's our advantage, because our surveying process, we take care of that, and then our designing, we don't want to get into design too quick. But that's just in our group. Maybe other groups are different. But I think our advantage is just being the mediator. We know how to delegate work. We can be in that position where we can, mediate the two different groups of people.
I think so. Since you have culture difference, right? Was it really easy to work together? I mean, did you accomplish the?
I think for my group it's easier because I can speak English to them, and also the teachers speak Japanese. But they don't really understand the Japanese teachers. They don't really understand Japanese teachers like so mostly I was the translator. I also the group leader, so I had to tell them what happened at the time the teacher said something. But I think our group, in terms of communication, our group is okay, and our group is we have a very good atmosphere in terms of discussion. Everyone takes part in discussion. Sometimes just keep talking for hours non-stop. Because discussion is the main time we use is for discussion.
So you guys said 3 from China, 3 from Taiwan, 3 from Japan. So like 3 each group has 3.
Mostly, yeah, mostly.
And then okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but 6 people speak Chinese in one group, so it's like 6 and 3. So it's kind of unfair. Questions? Yes.
我问一个问题，然后这个问题没有针对任何人，只是针对你的感觉，就是比如说像你刚才有讲说大陆人跟日本人有很明显的差异，就是在你这次的整个就是合作过程中，你会觉得说你会比较想要就是如果再一次有合作的机会，让你挑大陆人跟日本人，你会想要选择哪一种？
我觉得2个都有他们的好处。像跟大陆人就是真的沟通很方便，而且他们很直接。然后虽然你排版讲，他说好丑啊，就是他就会直接讲，然后你就 OK， 那我就改，然后刚刚可以改了，好一点这样子之类的，就是很直接，然后我们是可以很快做的。可是跟日本人就是你觉得怎样说，it's OK， 然后其实他背后就讲一些日本，然后就完全不爱讲，可是讲说怎么丑，就是那个文化差别就是很大，然后所以跟日本人就是真的要懂他们的文化，因为他们文化是跟我们中华文化都差很多，就是他们就是真的是就是不会太直接了，然后就是比较管，我这样讲对。可是日本人就是合作的话，就是真的就是他们要求细节，你可以做出一个很好的品质会很好的东西。那是no doubt good quality. When you work with the Japanese, you can promise a good quality, but with the Chinese, it's all about the efficiency and the timing has to be very quick. So there's advantages and disadvantages. I think working with both of the groups, because the Japanese they're not really straightforward, they're not friendly, so they always too polite. I think. 太有礼貌，有时候是真的沟通会有 communication gets really frustrated. And the Chinese is just more friendly. They tell you right away what's the problem.
一开始在讨论就是对于红色这件事情，还在想法讨论的阶段。中国、台湾跟日本对于农村这件事情态度不一样。
会。因为其实我就想嘛，是中间，其实在日本乡村里非常的很宜人，就是他们规划就是比我们先好几年，然后像中国就是差异很大，就他们乡村其实就是像刚才同分人一样，就是比较贫穷，然后比较没有人再去照顾。然后我们其实台湾是还有一些 infrastructure 在乡村里面。然后来台湾的时候，像大家会看到我们台湾人觉得说，你们这一建设这不是乡村啊，这是城市啊，就是都是什么都有 7啊这些。然后可是日本人觉得说就是有点乱，所以就是其实我们台湾就有在，可是我们还不知道那个下一个方向。
我跟谢婷，因为你们有去日本，就是那个谁啊，就是也是在日本主导就是因为我们在讨论切进去的那个钢构房子啊，就是他在日本，就因为他现在是发展在大陆的状态。他在台湾其实算是失败的，就是也不算失败，就是其实没有那个市场。
因为就是它就是很农村性的东西，就是比较适合这种。然后可是我们在想说，它在日本，就是我们考的是觉得发展不太起来，
应该是的。
对，因为像日本那个是谁啊？叫什么？我都忘记。因为他也有在那个日本海啸不是，美团那个日本海啸不是也有那个发起那个重建的那个是谁？他们有去做那个实验。只是一种。
会不会有？
对对对。
管什么？
我忘记了，反正就是我们就觉得在日本，就是在那种东西在日本一定发展不起来，就是他们有日本自己特有的，就是对建筑的一些要求，或是他们的木工啊，或是他们的那些木匠啊，他们本身的品质要求，然后跟这种在中国大陆做农村建筑是一个很不一样的那种态度，因为像中国大陆的农村建筑，它可能就是比如说就实用，然后可能就美观上面就是也是说还好，可是日本是对一些就是一些比较细节的要求，比如说像你们讲那些日本的那个建筑做的很细致那一些，其实就算即使是在农村也是可以，也是会有他们一定的一个在。那你觉得这两个就是你们在做对于农村的讨论的话，会不会有就是冲突？就是中国跟日本，
中国跟日本，
就他们对农村建筑这个，
你说这种东西，其实我们那时候一开始想的就是我们的想法是共同点，就是我们不想要碰那个老建筑太多，就是想要保留原本那个架构，可能不合理啊，可能就是保留它原本架构，然后是加盖上去那种。其实大家都同意，然后日本他们也就是总之是有共识，所以其实做出来他们就觉得很美啊。就是日本跟大陆他们觉得就是没有太多的问题，然后所以问题是。
他的意思说，就是在设计发展初期，中国对于农村的印象是跟日本完全不一样的。然后你们怎么做整合？因为他说你会有冲撞吗？
其实他们那时候看大陆，他们说农村根本没有在管啊，他们其实觉得一开始觉得说这个议题感觉有点怪，因为他们可能就是 focus 在那个都市的那种建设，然后可是他们一开始来的时候，他们开始看到看到台湾的这种乡村，其实他们觉得也是这个议题需要去关心，他们其实也开始有点改观，其实这个工作之后大家都有点改观。然后日本的话，他们就提出像很多想法，就是高啊那种厂生出来的那种厂，户外办户外空间跟户外空间，他们其实也提出这种想法。那他们就是那时候我们在提想法，他们就提一些比较细致的空间，像那个常常都是他们的想法。然后那个就是加盖那种东西，其实他们大陆的方面他们比较有兴趣，所以他们其实那时候一开始，我就觉得把他们的兴趣放在该用的地方上，就是比如说加盖部分就交给他们大陆，他们就让他们去做，然后他们其实做的我觉得还可以。然后那个日本他们就提出一些小空间的那种想法，然后他们有做一个 lecture 在讲他们日本的一些旧房子，然后去怎么，就是他们在介绍一个很完整，就是在整个在讲他们日本乡村的房子，然后他们就讨论他们一些小细节在我们这个设计上，其实就是各个都有他们的优点，然后就是我们当地的人就是像台湾，就是把他们的优点就是可以尽量的放在，就是当一个中间那个协调者，知道吗？你听得懂吗？
他可以，
可以。
那中文大概比你差一点。
我想问一下，就是像你经过就是台湾、中国还有日本，那你觉得就是以你个人的主观这个想法来说，你觉得就是我们的优势在哪里，然后劣势在哪里，以及就是你觉得我对于农村这件事情可以有怎样的一个未来发展可能性或期许？你个人认为来讲？
觉得优势就是，其实优势在于说我们可以，我们其实有不同学习对象，我们很多选择，我觉得应该是这样子。我们的选择，我们可以选择说去日本发展，或者去大陆发展，或者是去其他地方。其实我们选择性很多，大家都可以不一样。但重点是我们对台湾这块土地有没有自己的想法？就是我们可能就是出去嘛，可是我们那都是分散的啦，就大家有一个集体的意识。比如说日本有一个集体意识，大陆有一个集体意识，可是可能扯太多。就是我们要怎么对土地我们要怎么有一个集体意识？可能大家每个人都不一样。像我一般可能有些想去大陆，有些想去西边，有些想去哪里。可是他们真正对台湾会有一个共同意识。像日本，他们意识就很强，大陆其实他们有一个那种大国主义啊，对自己有一种自己的意识，那是他们的优势。那我们的劣势可能就是说我们选择太多，变成说我们很散，我们没有一个共同的意识在台湾，这个就是我们的问题。好。最后一点点时间，我再宣传个东西，不好意思。你那个 poster 放上去，不好意思。好，我们今天就讲到差不多这边，然后接下来有一个活动，大家都在吗？在厕所。Next, okay, so this is a lecture. Sorry, just explain to them what Taiwanese people have, the Japanese, Chinese, and Taiwanese people. What's our advantages, also our disadvantages. Just think that because Japanese and Chinese, they all have towards their own country. They have a very strong sense of what they have to do. But for Taiwanese, we have too many options. So then we can either go abroad, we can go to Japan, we can go to China. But we don't have a sense of belonging to our country. So we need to come up with the same common sense of purpose towards our country. So that's our disadvantage. But our advantages are our options. We have lots of options. So we can translate these. Okay, 这最大面嘛，最大。跳。Okay. Tickets. Okay. Anyways. So this okay. So this is the end of our takeoff session, but 2 weeks later we'll have the start of another session, and it'll be 3 weeks. So each week, 1 day, just on Saturday, we come at 1 to our library department, Taiwan Library, to take part in this workshop. It's very interesting. It's something that we think will be very fun. And what we want to do is we have a archetype housing, a house, and on the first section we're going to make this house from cardboard. It's going to be very plain. And what we want to do is we think that nowadays, our home is defined by different needs. For example, my cell phone would be my home, or for example, nowadays the way we define home is very different. So we want to see what kind of we have different cultures and different people who are specialized in different areas. We gather together and then we have this home. And then we can take pictures of them in different scenarios. For example, I think my home is where, and just put it in that place. For example, I go out and I find this place where I think is very suitable, and I just put it there and then take a picture of my home. And then we come back on the second day. Second week we come back and then we discuss about our pictures, our photos. And then maybe we'll have some similarities, and then we'll put you guys in groups, and then we can discuss how we can change this home depending on our own understanding. So, and in the end, we'll have a presentation. It's a small exhibition. can showcase these photos and the product of that house. So I think the main goal is to see it's like an experiment to see the different how different cultures can influence this archetype house and become something that's very special, not just a plain house. So it's gonna be very short, and we're not gonna do many things, but it's gonna be something fun. It's like an experiment.你先帮解释一下中文，对，讲中文。你讲中文就不太会讲。
中文不太。
对，讲一下怎么操作。
就是啊，这个年代啊，人家就是对那个房子 home 或是 house 的定义就是越来越多样。有人感觉手机里面就是有家，或是电脑里面有家，或是包包里面有家那种感觉。所以我们就是先抽象化，做成一个小小的房子，那带那个房子去找说到底我的家是哪里那种感觉，然后带那个小房子去拍照。
第一个。
对，第一天是这样子。那第二天之后就是可能大家拍完之后，就是来讨论说，那接下来到底我们可以做哪些事情？可能那个房子会开始慢慢的变，那个白色的小房子开始慢慢变。所以自己做吧。对。
就是第一天
是统一是白的。对。
就很白很素
的。然后第二阶段之后，可能就慢慢开始会变化。
那有趣的是，就是不同文化跟不同专业的人，他们怎么去看待这件事情？因为我们都是建筑系的，可能就是会有同样的想法。那如果说我们跟一些外系或是其他文化的人来参加的话，那他们怎么会看待这件事情？那可能就可以去观察。最后一天我们就把这件事情都展出来。
因为做这件事情是人类谁都那个的。
看我们跟大家都知道。
大家都知道，所以我们就是想要多理解，就是不同想法的时候，到底会有哪些效果出现。
So if you want to join our sessions, we'll hand you out a notebook where you can record whatever things that came to your mind during these sessions. And if you want to come, we can give you a ticket. And then next week you come to us and then it's in the library there. Okay, hi. 进来吗？还是进来？然后 so come here. So if you're interested, just sign up. I mean, if you want this notebook, just sign up and then you have to come next week to join the session. So we hope it's going to be a very interesting moment. As we think, 我觉得很有趣。那就今天就到这里。So this is the end of our talk. Thank you very much.